Alright guys, good morning. This is Sean again from Max Options Trading. Here's a BABA put scalp from earlier today. Called it out right around 5 a.m., which is about 11 a.m. Eastern time. 74 puts for next week. It's a short-term swing trade. Trim for 17% gains, trim the next load at 35% gains, holding on the rest to get rid of either today or depending on the price action. But I did buy extra time expiring next week just because there's just been a lot of volatility killing the contracts really fast. So just had to make a safer play on this one. This play was actually quite simple. As you can see on the daily chart right here, we have a short-term downtrend line. And going down into 4-hour time frame, we're already seeing lots of these rising wedge patterns here. We can also draw another one here. Yep, so every time we get a drop, we have a retracement back to the top, the trend line, form another wedge, and continue downwards. And every time we had the break from the rising wedge here, we see the 9 and 21 day crossover, which is the blue and the purple line here, as well as VWAP. They all cross to the downside, right? And same thing, yesterday, we actually opened lower, which is it looks pretty much identical from last wedge breakdown here. As soon as we touched or broke below the wedge here, we opened the next day was a gap down day with the 9 and 21 day EMA crossing down as well as VWAP. Same thing, 9 and 21, the purple and the blue line crossed over here, EMAs to the downside. And RSI, very similar structure here as well. Opened the day with a gap down, going down to 15-minute chart. So one thing with these patterns is that you always want to see a retest, right? So I was actually thinking we get in right here after we fill the gap. And I'll enter it with rejection confirmation as soon as we fill the gap. But market didn't want to do that. Market didn't want to. Let me actually show a SPY chart here. Yeah, so we had a pretty decent bounce right at open, but we really couldn't fill the gap here. We just didn't have enough juice, and we ended up breaking through the 369, which was the previous resistance area, as you can see. And we pretty much broke down below, so I'm thinking we test or at least try to attempt a gap fill down here, down at 360. So yeah, market just wasn't holding up, so we didn't really get a full gap fill. I was thinking we were going to get some type of reversal right over here, but again, not enough juice. Volume is also declining. As you can see, we have these green volume bars, but volume is declining. And we always talk about this. Whenever you see a chart move up with declining volume, it's never a good sign. It always results in a pullback or some sort of a dip. It's like just merely a corrective bounce. It's not anything spectacular. It's not going to give us a $10, $20 run. So my entry here was after seeing this bounce, we could not break the high at open. We formed a evening star pattern followed by a bearish engulfing candle, and we also saw the EMAs cross on the 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart. 15-minute we actually crossed all the way here, and we pretty much rejected on the 15-minute chart on this purple EMA, which is the 20 on EMA. We got wick down, bearish candle, continuation. So my 5-minute trigger was right when we broke below this range. So we had the initial small corrective bounce. We ranged for a bit. We consolidated. I'll draw a small box right over here. Okay. And as soon as we broke below this area, which was around 450, right? Got in this at 450. Yep. Right around this area. Got in puts, 74p for next week. And trim my profits all the way down, and I took about 35% gains right around here. I was not able to take more profit. I think the contracts did hit about 50%, but I was asleep. But it's all right. We got next week. We still have more downside PTs looking at the daily chart. I'm thinking, go to the weekly. I'm thinking the next level we have down here is the 65s all the way down to the 60s. Because 73 was a previous range here also, if you can see. Previous support, previous range here, and we broke below that, so we're hovering around 71. Next real key support down is going to be back at 65 or 60. So I believe we'll see more downside either rest of this week or next week.